Okay, so I've got my dough with the butter inside. I've got the fold at the top, the two short sides, and then the bottom side. I'm going to make sure I've dusted well with flour here. And now the goal is to get this to 12 inches by 24 inches. So again, just start rolling. And again, you're going to try to keep it as square as possible. When you're rolling, don't roll all the way off the edge. Just roll up to the edge and stop. I'm going to come back, square it off, this side, and see I've got a little bit of butter coming out. That's okay. All I need to do is kind of pinch it closed again. Wipe up that butter. Put a little extra flour down and on the dough, and it's fine. You don't have to worry, it's not a big deal. Okay. Again, I'm going to tip it, make sure I've got enough bench flour down, make sure it's not sticking. Back to it. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. Not quite at 12 there, we're at about 11 inches. But we're close to 24 there. So let's work on this side. Swoop it over a little bit more if you need some room. I'm going to gently square it off here, kind of pull it out. Same thing on this side. And let's square it off again. Let's see what we're at. Still at 11 there. That's 12. Now let's check our length. A little long on the length, so let's kind of push it in there. Push it in there. Open it out a little. Square it off. By 24. Okay, we've got this at 24. Now we're going to, again, dust off the excess flour. And we're going to fold it. This is what's called the first fold. You're going to start from the right, and you're going to fold the dough a third of the way over. Brush off the excess flour. Again, square it off. If some butter is poking through, all you have to do, put a little flour in that section, and then take off the excess. Then we fold the other side over that. Again, put little flowers poking through. Just add some flour on, if any butter is poking through, add some flour on that. Brush off the excess. And if you need to, you can kind of tuck that dough over it if it's coming out a little too much. Brushing off all the excess flour. And then I have a half sheet pan here with a Sharpie. I'll tell you what that's for in a minute. I'm going to take my dough and lay that out on the pan. Brush off any excess flour. And then I'm going to take my Sharpie and in a corner, make a little mark. That tells me that this is the first turn.
Sure.
So now that we have our first turn done, we're going to wrap it in plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. It's time to take our dough out of the refrigerator and roll it out for our second turn. And I'm just going to save this plastic wrap. We can use it again. So out comes the dough. And again, we want the fold facing up. Kind of adjust this a little. Back to our bench flour, a little on top there. Make sure we've got enough underneath. And again, we're going to roll it to 12 by 24 inches. Butter pops out. Put a little flour on it. Measure it, almost to 12 there, pretty close. Tends to be a little easier for the second and third rollout. So it tends to retain its shape and make it a little easier to get to size. 12. That's perfect. Now for this second and third turn, you want to trim off just a tiny bit, maybe a 1/4 of an inch or so. On the edge to kind of open it up to make the layers. You can save the scraps. There's all kinds of little things that you can do with it. James likes to make little cinnamon rolls with it. Now again, we'll just take off the excess flour. Let's open up this edge too. This helps create the layers when you trim off a little of the edge, as that is where it tends to compress a little more than you'd like. Now again, we'll fold a third in, brush off the excess flour, fold the other third over, back on our tray. I'm looking for that little mark that I had made earlier. It shows me what turn I'm on. Adjust this. And my pen. Another little mark. Now I know I've done 2 turns. It's important to do this because it's very easy to lose track of how many turns you've made. Cover that up with the plastic, and back in the fridge it goes again. So the dough has been in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, and it's now time to roll it and make the third turn. Already floured underneath, so we're all set to go. Put a little flour on top. Again, 12 by 24 is our target measurement. Square it off and check the other side. Add a little extra flour. Still a ways to go. Square it off. It's getting close. We've got the length now. We've just got to get another inch off on the width. There we go, 12 by 24. Let's brush it again. Let's trim the edges slightly. To open up those layers. Brush off that excess flour. And a third. Over. Got a little butter poking through, so I'm just going to put my flour on it. Pat it in. There we go. And I'll make my mark for the third turn. And now that we've done the third turn, it's time to refrigerate this overnight, or roughly about 8 hours. I think I'm going to put on some fresh plastic wrap this time, since it's going to be in there quite a while. And there we go. Our dough is in the refrigerator. It's had its 3 turns and it's going to chill overnight. And then we'll come back and shape, proof, and bake our croissants and our pain au chocolat.